So LYON going to be going on to a blue side here as we are getting the draft started. And we'll have to see what they want to cook up for game number 2, if it is going to be kind of a repeat of what they showed us in game number 1, where they are just looking for standard front-to-back team fighting, you know, lots of tank, lots of engage, or if they are going to be looking for something a little bit different here. Because it's hard to think of kind of like a better standard comp than what they had in game number 1, but yet it did not work.
Especially when you have a substitute top laner coming in. If you're looking, if this is your first game you're tuning into and you see Yayo, you're like, who's that? That is a substitute. Used to go by Bajani when he played in Tier 2, both in LATAM and you know, North America here. And he's subbing in for Zamuda, who has not yet made it to the States to play with the LYON. And I think that, again, like you said, it's a standard composition that should fit a sub-top laner coming in, but eventually Thanatos did get a very large lead over him.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, even if you're comfortable on these champions, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to be comfortable piling against Thanatos, right? Like, this guy is such a monster. He was kind of that big argument for the player on C9 that should have been potentially in the MVP race, or should have been potentially, you know, on that first team All-Pro. People really talked a lot about how strong his lane was, and I was just about to say his Renekton, I think, is his best champion. This time he is going to be on the Renekton. He will be blind, so we'll have to see what Yayo has as a potential response here. Because it is going to be Skarner, Renekton, lots of CC here, some beefy frontliners there for C9, and traded out for that Wukong on the other side.
When I saw red side C9, my head was telling me, oh, Thanatos gets counterpick now and can try and run away with it. This is a very different strategy than I expected, because of the blind Renekton just shows how confident he is on his ability on this champion, and also the matchup that he has in the top lane today. Let's see what the response from LYON is. We have the Gragas locked in.
So Gragas is one of these really safe top laners. You know, I think it is one of the best blind pickable top laners in the game. It is really hard to punish. Of course, in this case, it is not blind. It is kind of in response. But I do like the response here. If you can get through the early levels on Gragas, you know, get enough points in your queue, you get some mana, like whether you're going Catalyst or you're going whatever rush, you just get to a point where you can just kind of kill waves, and it's very, very difficult to dive. It's very, very difficult to actually punish this champion.
You can sustain up through any of the harass.
So it is a really strong answer, I think, to the Gragas. You have a lot of ability to actually start out fights with both the Wukong as well as the Gragas, pretty explosive engage. And then you do have the power of Saint on this Ryze, if you can get push, moving around the map. Also the ability to play through side lanes to answer someone later on. So it is going to be interesting here from LYON.
I think it's a shift, and that's why it's interesting for LYON, because when I saw the last comp, it is one of the most straightforward front to back. Yes, I would say you still can look for things like that, but when I see Ryze, I'm more interested in what are you going to do in a side lane? What are you going to do trying to get around the map, as opposed to just, you know, taking those traditional front to back options. So it seems like LYON are trying out something a little different, or at least giving them options here. As it is the Orianna locked in for C9, the next wave of bans coming through. But I want to talk about the Orianna and what that does, because now they're suddenly CC on all champions. What is, okay, Graggy Ice Pick, Grag, oh, they got to be happy. Gragas was locked in, instantly for him.
Yep, he's going to be able to get that Gragas. So more bot lane bans here from C9. They have not selected their support or their AD, but it is going to be Lucian Nico taken off the table. And Nico obviously was so high prio at MSI. It is one of the, I would say it's like the only support that is both a lane bully and can function as a primary engage, like, and really have that power there. So
and
I think that's what kind of makes it unique. The vision
you
as
give
well
is crazy.
Is really, really strong, but a lot of bot lane bans here. Ziggs, the Ezreal, we have the Lucian as well as the Nico, you know, all getting thrown out in the second round. And it is going to be Rell grabbed here for Vulcan, which I do quite like. And generally the easy answer is the Alistar, but that obviously was played in that first game.
So we'll see what Lyonz decides to pick up here. Braum is on the table. We saw that ban last time around. Maybe they want to go for it, but I guess they actually do. It's past my Zed time. It's an early bed. Oh, he was even sleeping. Nice touch there. Yeah, that was good. It's Aphelios locked in for LYON here for Hena and Lyonz. Hover the Rek'Sai twice in a row now. I'm curious. I gotta ask him what's going on there, because every time a pro hovers a champion in pick ban, there's always a reason. They're like shouting out somebody at home who's watching, something like that. So.
Sometimes it's an early main, sometimes it's a you know, girlfriend, a friend, you know, something, a reference to something, but not quite sure exactly what it is. It shows that it was picked, but it was not picked. I can assure you I'm in game.
Okay.
And it wasn't actually picked, so
we're
that is bugged out. It is actually a Braum that they locked in, otherwise that would be very surprising.
I mean, it could have been like a Gragas support, Rek'Sai, jungle,
but Gragas support.
We don't need to talk about it because
Wukong top. but
it should update here shortly.
Yeah, exactly. That is a Braum. It was Senna picked on the other side here for Cloud9, so that is correct. So it is going to be the scaling bot lane here for C9. Do have some pretty explosive engage themselves with the Orianna plus the Rell and some powerful front line. But honestly, again, I kind of find myself favoring what LYON has drafted. I do actually quite like their comp. They have really good pick here with both the Wukong and the Gragas being able to look for engages on the Senna as well as the Orianna. Front to back, I think, is pretty difficult for C9 to actually fight through this Braum as well as the counter engage there from the Wukong and the Gragas. And Ryze, as well as Aphelios, definitely can put out a lot of DPS. That being said, we know that C9 has the capability of executing on these dives, executing on these engages. And if Thanatos gets in the backline, Vulcan's in there with the Orianna ball, you have the Senna ult over the top. There's very clear ways for C9 to actually play out these fights and dominate them.
Non-subscribers, we'll see you in 30 seconds. Everybody else sticking around at C9 versus LYON round 2. In this best-of-3 series. LYON has a solid draft this time around. If they can land the engage and get the damage down correctly, C9 still with options to play around with, and a scary scaling Senna in that bottom lane. Anytime a game goes late against this champion, I get a little worried with what she can do with that extra range and extra damage. But here we go, everybody. Make some noise at the Riot Games Arena for Game 2. Ooh, already a scrap at level 1 into a Braum. Not always the wisest decision for C9, as it's a Senna plus a Rell. So Crashdown's going to be used, but now Zven is in trouble. Trying to run away, uses the Ghost for the move speed. Loki also gets chunked out. That, I mean, invading a Braum as a Senna Rell, that's a bold move.
It was pretty spicy. I wonder if they, like, we didn't see the initial setup to it, so I wonder if they actually saw them there and thought we could just walk up and get some souls. Because he did take 2 souls there, which is not irrelevant. You know, he did have to trade out his Ghost for it, but at the end of the day, you traded Ghost for heal and you got 2 souls. So I'm actually pretty happy about that if I am the Senna. That being said, you know, we'll see if he can actually get there late to lane, because he is quite late. And there is a possibility of that getting punished. You know, if LYON want to actually stack the wave, they could have it pushing away from them and try to deny a minion or 2 before Zven gets there. Instead, they're not going to do that, so they're not actually going to group up that wave, but we'll see if Zven can at least get there for XP. So this is the setup here at level 1. So they saw the Braum pop out, and I think they just saw, okay, maybe it's just the Braum there, and we can kind of walk forward and get 1 soul. Yeah,
I think he did miss when Hena's health bar was covering it, but I'm pretty sure a minion went down right before Zven got in range, and we see Vulcan already halfway to level 2. Yeah, I think that means that Zven will be a little behind.
Yep, he will be that 1 minion of XP that he's missing, but has to be careful here.
I mean, if you're just going to walk into these Winter's Bites, you're asking for a beating here. Aphelios had the red gun ready to go, and C9 not doing too hot in the early game on this bot lane.
That being said, when you are playing Senna and your opponents don't have the ability to actually 100-0 you, you want to trade aggressively like this because you have sustain, right? Because you have your Q pass-through.
True.
So a lot of times, you know, these early trades don't look great, but when you're playing against a Braum, you're hoping that you shouldn't be able to get 100-0 all in, anything like that. It's not a Nautilus or a Blitzcrank or a Thresh or whatever. So when you take these aggressive trades, we're going to see that over time, he's getting these pass-through Qs, it's healing him, it's healing Vulcan, it's hopefully hitting his opponents as well, and you're going to try to whittle them down and actually win the sustain war in that way. But obviously some of these early trades were kind of rough, so we'll see if it does end up working that way, because he missed some early CS. And Hena's actually looking like he just wants to go straight back to base, because Hena is concerned about getting out-sustained here, and he knows that Senna does have really bad wave clear.
And Blaber was pathing towards the bottom side. Not sure where the early wards were placed, as I wasn't keeping my eyes on that one, but potentially they're thinking that they're in danger as well. So Hena does complete the back, and it will run back into lane. Just picked up a longsword. The
big question, though, is can C9 actually crash the bot wave before Hena gets back? And it's going to be close.
But C9, we talked about at the beginning here, and the implications of this split and kind of what their goals are. They have come so close, Azael. Split 2 second in the regular season, but they missed out of international competition for the 4th split in a row. Crazy to think about that. They've been so close so many times, and they're looking to right that wrong.
Yeah, and there's only 1 guaranteed world slot for LTA North, right? The second one is going to be a competition between North and South, and then South is going to have 1 guaranteed slot as well. So in the past, you know, as LCS, we always had 3 world slots. So now you have to be able to actually get in the top 2. Clearly, C9 is looking like, you know, a big favorite to be in that top 2. Them and FlyQuest have looked a cut above of really everyone else in the league. You know, coming into last split, there was a lot of talk about this kind of top 4, bottom 4. The expected result, you know, was supposed to be that it was TL, 100 Thieves up there, you know, with FlyQuest and C9, but they separated themselves from the rest of the pack, and it really ended up being like a top 2 and everyone else.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
I do think, you know, the way that I'm looking at this split, you know, knowing that likely there's only going to be those 2 spots and one that has to be one away, you know, 4 worlds from the LTA South, is that there's a lot of pressure on these other orgs to be able to kind of close that gap, because you're not going to Worlds if you're not better than at least one of FlyQuest or C9.
Exactly. And it is hard to be better than FlyQuest and C9, as it turns out. You had asked a question earlier before we started talking about C9 expectations about Hena and the wave state. I believe he was able to catch a lot of that wave looking at the current CS right now. So up about 1 on Zven as this will crash.
He was, but the critical thing was that Zven, you know, was able to actually crash the wave, because the big worry in that spot is that when Hena goes back to base, he comes back with the extra combat power of that longsword. You're a bit low health and low mana, and if you can't actually get the wave in, then they can sometimes force you to stay around in this really disadvantageous spot. So the fact that C9 was able to get the wave in, even though Hena catches it, Zven was able to get his own reset. You can see he has his boots, longsword, as well as the refillable, so he actually has more combat power right now, is down farm. But I think he's going to be okay with that positioning. And they're just going to continue in this 2v2, because as Senna, one of the best supports in the game to play against is the Braum. You want to play against melee supports that don't have explosive engage.
Ooh, talking about engage here. Flash out from Loki. First blood to Oddielan.
Really nicely done. Blaber comes in, but it is obviously far too late, and he'll just catch that wave. Costs them both flashes, but they get the flash off Loki, and they get the kill. But yeah, the job for Zven is just continue farming souls off Braum. Every time Braum walks forward, you want to just continually punish him, get those souls. Even if you're taking these trades that look like they are going bad, as long as you're not getting so low that you can't sustain back up, it really doesn't matter. You know, Senna struggles much more into either things like Nautilus, Leon, whatever that can 100-0 you, or double range, where you can't actually walk up and trade these autos, or you'll just get blasted by, you know, things that are more solo queuey, but like Rand and things like that, or even Nico. And Zven is doing a good job so far with these souls. You can see he's already at 18 here, only 6 minutes in. So he's on a really good track thus far.
I'm happy you highlighted that, because even like the Ghost has come back for a while now. The lane state is not that bad for C9, all things considered. And now they're looking for their own engage here. Vulcan with the flash forward. Not going to catch too much, though. Blaber with the Ixal's impact into the wall. Oddielan knocked back. Loki with the ultimate. And C9 with a roaming mid laner will find the play.
Really nicely done. And the reason they commit so heavily is they know Oddielan has no flash, right? So he already used the clone there when Vulcan went in for his own flash engage. And then Blaber knows, okay, you've got no clone, you've got no flash because you spent that mid lane, so we're going to full send it and actually commit to killing this Wukong, because that means he has no way to get out of there. They get the kill now onto Zven. He picks up even more souls. So I love how heavily they're committing to this. Vulcan, W, mounts up, flashes in, gets the double stun, and then Blaber flash forward there with the Ishal's impact, catches Oddielan, and the shockwave is beautifully placed by Loki to even snap him back max range in towards where Zven is. And just really well played there on C9's part.
The positioning so well. Loki saying, all right, Blaber, carry this ball forward, get the engage, and then I'll be the follow-up. Now as Thanatos finds himself looking down a level 4 Braum, drops control where it walks away. Thanatos will clear that one up. So early game going in favor of C9 this time around. Last game it was the dive from LYON. This time around it was C9 though, making some action happen here.
Yeah, absolutely. LYON did have that first blood that they were able to grab mid lane though, so they got some early action of their own, but things definitely looking C9 favored thus far. Yayo is holding on as best as he can, but unfortunately misses the cannon there, which always hurts, and you can see he's going to be working towards that Roa build. Once you get the Catalyst, honestly, if you haven't been blown out in your lane, by the time you get Catalyst, you're usually just chilling. And you're going to be able to farm out kind of any lane. So he's going to be pretty comfortable there, but Thanatos has first move, and C9 looks like they want to start fighting these grubs.
They don't have Shockwave yet. I'm looking at the screen. It's about to come up for Loki. Once they have that, I imagine they could look for the fight, but just going to back off.
Yeah, they see Hena show up, and when Hena shows up, they're deciding, you know what, we actually can't fight. Yes, Zven could assist with his ulti, but when you are down a man there, it would get really risky. So as soon as they see Hena, they realize, you know what, we're not going to go for it. They're instead going to take away some of these bot side jungle camps. They're going to try to push in that bot wave, and they just have to make sure that Thanatos is careful. He sees with that ward that not only do they take the grubs, they're moving towards topside after those grubs are taken, so they are going to look for a dive there, and they're just going to immediately TP to cover. This is Vulcan TP.
Yeah. so not even using Loki's mid lane TP, and Blaber's going to get the buff down here, and maybe even look at the dragon. Like, C9 actually got a lot for giving up those grubs.
Yeah, it's actually really well done here, and this is kind of the same timing, or at least a similar-ish timing to where we saw Thanatos kind of get left out. Where it was earlier in the game. He was level 5. He wasn't didn't have that equalizer just yet, but they were able to find that dive. And this time, when they realized, okay, he's in this split map situation, someone does get up there early enough. Vulcan is there to cover. So as you said, they take away multiple camps on the bot side. They should be able to grab this dragon, no problem. And C9 going to be able to trade back really, really well. Zven now 33 souls already, and it's looking very good.
I know that we have that graphic that we like to show up the averages. I'm very excited for when that will pop up later in this game to see where Zven is. Because of all the early scrapping that you had highlighted, it seemed rough at the very beginning of it because LYON were often getting that better trade. But like you had highlighted, you heal it back up as the Senna. And if you're not dying, you're happy because you're getting the CS still, you're getting the souls. Especially
he's playing Fleet, right? So it's like, it's really easy as well. Like Fleet heals so much more when it's off champions, but it's very easy to get Qs on champions and you get those hits on a champion. So Zven, has just been farming it up here as much as he possibly can. You can see there's the average.
There it is.
At 14, the average is 33. He's already at 33 here.
Wow.
At 10 minutes. So
overachiever Zven. Let's
exactly.
go.
I mean, these are just like when you are playing AD Senna, it's one of my favorite champions to play. It's so much about the support matchup because that's generally who you're able to just non-stop farm these souls off of. And you can see Lyonz is trying not to show because you just don't want to give free souls. Even when you feel like, winning this trade, it's feeling good. You are just letting the Senna get stronger. Each soul is quite a bit of combat power.
And Zven handled that wave expertly here, getting a freeze for himself. Vulcan is still around the little alcove, now is spotted, but C9 have just played this bot lane very patiently, very well. And yeah, there's really no reason for them to go for any aggressive plays right now. We have 3.5 minutes until the Dragon, 4 minutes until that Herald. So expecting C9 to just be happy with the current game state in the bottom side. We do see Blaber on the top half, but he's going for a reset. So even though Yayo is kind of pushing in, we won't see a gank up there anytime soon.
Yeah, just going to be chilling, farming it out. But of course, it's not like LYON has no scaling of their own here. The Aphelios is definitely a really powerful scaling team fighter. Can look in towards those items. Nice sidestep there from Zven.
Yeah, that was really, really well done. Out of the Fog of War from the brush. If that Glacial Fissure lands, Zven could be in some trouble. But now no ultimate available on either Hena or Lyonz, and Lyonz actually walked up to get some vision down. Vulcan goes for the engage, Blaber's nearby, pulls back Hena, 80 carry down, Zven getting some gold.
That was a really nice engage there from Vulcan. Both his flashes have been so high value, that earlier river fight, and then again, it feels like right as soon as that flash is up, he gets in, not only connecting in on Lyonz and forcing out both of his summoners, but following up onto Hena. Then Blaber is there immediately once more, doesn't even have to use his flash. And Hena just realizes there's no way out. They're able to give the kill over to Zven. This is fantastic here for C9. And now he has the Shiv, so the wave clear problems really become a thing of the past for Senna once you get that one item power spike. So C9 really comfortable now. 2,000 is the gold lead for them. And Loki's just been kind of chilling. He is a bit behind in mid lane, but top lane's going well. Bot lane's looking incredible.
Half of the gold lead is just Zven. 2 kills, 1 assist, and up in CS numbers now. 2 full waves over his lane opponent. Just a masterclass on Senna right here. It was 14 minutes was the average for 33 stacks. I think he might hit 50 by that point. If another fight breaks out, he's at 42 right now. So we'll see within the next minute. But right now, it's actually C9 looking at the top half of the map instead of their Senna bot lane. LYON will look to get this scuttle, but C9, you don't take scuttles away from Blaber. I feel like that's jungling 101 here in LTA.
Yeah, he's going to be able to contest that. And C9 just know we're in a really powerful position right now. You can look at the item completions are coming through for pretty much everyone. It is just Loki that has yet to grab that first item for himself. And of course, he made that pit stop for the tier 2 boots, so it does make sense. And Zven is just going to be farming it up down on that bot side here against Yayo. Has to be a little bit respectful.
Yeah.
But unless you super overextend, you're not going to get one shot by, a no stacks row of Gragas. It's not really that big of a worry.
He would have to commit flash or hit like a really good ultimate or something onto you.
And honestly, even if you do body slam flash and hit your full combo, you're not going to kill him at this point. It would have to be like an extended thing where you already have him chunked down.
Yeah.
So
plus, you don't want him to hit 50 stacks by 14 minutes.
Exactly.
That would just look bad.
So that is one of the things you always have to be wary of. You don't want to just give for those free trades over to Zven. And he's going to be not hitting the 50, but just before that, you know, he's at 46 stacks. So
I'm not even impressed anymore. Come on, Zven. Making me look bad.
He's looking really strong.
Yo, 46 is a lot.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
I mean, if this game keeps going at this pace, he's going to be a problem later on.
Ooh, Hena flashing forward with the engage on to Zven. Hena says, all right, I'll make it happen.
Really nicely done there. Flashes in. He saved that flash earlier, realized he was dead, so this time flashes in, gets the Gravitum root.
Yeah.
That sets up for Lyonz with the ulti. And then Oddielan is there to follow up as well. That is 3 flashes, though, spent, so that is quite an expensive engage. But they do kill off Zven, which is quite nice.
I don't know if they get the dragon afterwards, though. It could just be the gold from the kill. Let's see if C9 actually want to commit to this, because Loki can come over here as well.
And that 46 stacks at 14 minutes here is actually higher than any Senna game we saw at MSI. So, you know, quite a fast pace. You know, thank you, Braum, for donating a lot of those over.
Yeah.
Senna players everywhere do appreciate the Brahms, the Tom Kenches, the easy stacks that they're going to be able to grab. And yeah, not only are they not able to actually be there in time to even start up the dragon, of course, when you spend that much prior to a dragon, the dragon fight would probably be pretty cursed.
Let's keep our eyes on top lane here. Yayo is actually proxy farming a wave, and Thanatos says, all right, well, this is crocodile hunting season. On the side of the crocodile, mind you, as, ooh, the root lands from Zven. Yayo gets over the wall, has flash available, nowhere to go. Thanatos picks up the kill.
And nicely done there by Thanatos. I think Yayo would have been okay in the 1v1, just kind of slowly walk it out, but with Zven making the rotation, lands the root, nowhere for Yayo to go, and now Oddielan has to be a bit careful.
Throws out the clone, tries to get away, flash forward from Blaber, Ixal's impact into the wall, pulls him back into the dawning shadow. Clean execution from C9.
Yeah, C9 has just been so good on these engages.
Yeah.
Last game was pretty dominant, but I would say it was a little bit more rough around the edges. There was kind of more sloppiness coming in from C9. This time they are looking pretty clinical. All of their engages, it felt like they are picture perfect here. And Vulcan now trying to threaten behind.
They're trying to clear out the wave. It is gone. C9 can now look to just force them to stay. And actually, they're just getting engaged onto Hena. He walked away from the turret. That might not have been a wise decision, friend, as C9 commit everything. Teleport in from Thanatos. Lion have teleport from Yayo, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to save them here. The turret is just going to get melted by C9, as now they'll turn and take the kills. One goes down, make it 2. Yayo nowhere to escape to. Throws out the ultimate to try and buy space, but it's just not enough. C9 get a double kill to Loki.
Yeah, C9 making it look easy at this point. I mean, they have beats, they have multiple dragons here. They pull off that dive, no problem. And Zven even susses out that there was a potential for him to get jumped on, so he just steps back. Oddielan can't find anything. And we're just looking at it one more time. This is really well done. You're thinking at first, hey, maybe this won't work out for C9 because they don't have a lot of damage there. But then as soon as you see the instant TP coming through from the Renekton, Hena is just getting stunned up constantly by these 2 C9 members. Even though they're not killing him off fast, it doesn't really matter. They just have to keep him there for Thanatos. And then with the tower this low, Loki just shoves in the wave. C9 just focuses down the tower incredibly low. They don't actually finish it before they go for the dive. But they are able to burst down Lyonz, then finish off the kill, and now they are looking for Saint.
Yeah, they don't want it to end right there. Flash from Saint gets away from both engaged tools of C9. So Lion will at least keep their mid laner alive for right now, but they will not keep the top turret up. C9, they get the objective.
Yeah, going to be able to grab the tower, no problem. Now moving in, stealing away more of these jungle camps. Blaber has opened up a pretty big lead, and you can also see top lane, it's kind of the same thing that happened last game. It's this 2K lead early on, and then this time, Senna down on the bot side has a big advantage. Saint has done well in that 1v1, but clearly the map has fallen apart around him, and it's going to be hard for him, I think, to have that big impact when there's so much CC and you are playing a relatively short-range character.
And, I mean, yes, he's held his own in the 1v1, but Loki's gotten around the map. He has made things happen with Blaber and company to get C9 the other gold leads, getting Zven kills, getting Thanatos kills. So C9 currently up 8-2, have a sizable 5K gold lead as well.
Yeah, looking really good to be able to make this a clean 2-0 sweep here. The Lion down to this bot side, they're going to get spotted, but Yayo's looking.
Oh!
That looked like a hit, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that is one of those rough ones, man. That was probably a pixel away.
That was so close. I'm actually
yeah.
shocked because it didn't even look like Vulcan backstepped. I'm pretty surprised that that didn't actually connect on him, but that one obviously hurts. It's kind of like that super obvious ulti that you throw it out and you miss and you're just like, oh.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
I've missed more than my fair share of Gragas ults.
And again, a reminder, Yayo coming in here a substitute top laner for Lyonz. Zamudo was the expected top laner to start, but due to difficulty with visa issues, being able to play for the team in week 1, did not work out. Yayo coming in to help out.
And while they can't make that play on bot side, C9 kill off the mid tier 1, so that's the last of the outer towers is gone. They also get a charge on the tier 2 in mid, so that's low. And Thanatos was getting a lot of damage down on the tier 2 top, so that is also low. And now he's on a 2-item power spike. Zven's on a 2-item power spike. Blaber's on a 2-item power spike. And it feels like no one really is very close here on LYON. So they are not going to be in a position to fight this next dragon, it feels like, whatsoever. And that is going to be Cloud Soul point for C9 if they can grab that 3rd dragon.
Solidly played by C9 to, they make a play. Even if Vulcan had gone down, there's an argument that they still get more gold afterwards just because of all the focus they had on the other side of the map. They're doing a really good job, not only in that target selection, but also playing the map, playing vision. Vulcan's going to get some wards down deep here for the dragon setup, as the rest of C9 are already walking forward. It's going to be so difficult for LYON to approach.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really tough. I mean, C9 obviously, as you said, moving in, trying to play for this vision. And Blaber just playing in their face, unafraid. You can see Yayo is very deep on this potential flank here. Could try to look for Zven if he overextended, but Zven is just pushing in that mid wave, and he was covered by Thanatos the entire time, so C9 really not leaving any opportunities whatsoever. And now this should be an uncontested dragon, I think. LYON feel like they're going to be too late, but do want to see if they can get an opportunity for it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can find a straggler that's like trying to get that forward vision down, being a body ward like Thanatos, but with 2 items on the Renekton, you're really never killing this guy unless everybody commits on to him. So C9 will get the dragon.
And they're saying, you know what? You couldn't fight us for that. You can't fight us for Oddielan either, because we still have 2 items on all these members. You do not.
And they see 3 chasing Thanatos right now. Thanatos is just a magnet pulling LYON away from where they need to be. C9 are looking at the Oddielan. It's down to about half health, but LYON are approaching.
Yeah, but Thanatos is going to be behind them, so this is so tough. If they actually hard engage, Hena's just going to be left out to the wolves here. Saint is on the side. They've got to try.
Engage from LYON. They're trying to capitalize. Well, C9 are not all together, but the Impale pulls 2 back. LYON cannot find the engager. Looking for Thanatos, pushing past Yayo as LYON don't hold the front. And that is the Oddielan actually taken by LYON. Oddie's able to take that, but they cannot win the fight. C9 dominated with a clean sweep. They'll take that trade.
Yeah, the steal does give them something. You get the objective bounty, you get some power from those petals. But C9, it's a 5-for-0 at the end of the day. They got close. The initial part of the fight here was looking okay for LYON. And I want to put your eyes onto Saint. Saint is getting a ton of damage out on the side here. And then there's this threat onto Zven where Zven is thinking, okay, well, maybe he's going to get knocked down. But he lands a really nice root that actually interrupts the ulti coming through from Saint. He gets low. And then it's all eyes on the Oddielan here as it's early smite there from Blaber, anticipating the smite would have come out a bit faster from Audie. So his is just a little bit too late. And then Thanatos, he had that free time on Hena. That means the fight is never really going to go your way in the extended moments. And when you're that far behind, you pretty much just have to get those early kills or the fight is cooked.
And let's see what happened in the kind of aftermath of that. Because, yes, you get all the flowers, you get the Oddielan buff, but C9 got a lot of gold. They're 9,500 ahead. And let's catch up with those Senna stacks. 50.9 at 20 minutes. He's currently at 71 at 22.
Yeah. And, I mean, he's closing in on the IE as well, right? And, Shiv, I think you always kind of have to go for, but when you do go Shiv Rapid Fire, you are pretty dependent upon the souls to give you the flat AD to actually do much damage, have much oomph behind those auto attacks. But he has enough souls that he's not punished. And then when you hit IE, you are just so strong because you have the ridiculous range, you have the wave clear. And you can see LYON trying to find an angle there to force, but C9 was always around. So as soon as you see those C9 members, you know LYON's not going to commit because they just realize at this point, you're down 10K plus. It's got to be like a 3v1 for you to be willing to pull the trigger.
Anytime they see Thanatos in a side lane, you can look for the 5v4. Maybe you can get a kill fast enough before Thanatos TP's in, but that was not the window. C9 played it respectfully and backed off, and LYON backs against the wall. They're going to have to find a miracle to get back in this game. Yeah, I mean, Yayo does get his 2nd item now, but Thanatos is closing in on the 3rd and closing in on a potential Flame Horizon. Yayo did fine in the early lane, but got picked off a couple times, and I think he just hasn't really been sure like what his job should be, in the game at that point. Once he started falling behind the 1v1, he's like, okay, well, I can't win 1v1. So he's kind of just moving around the map a lot, trying to see if there's angles for the team, but
It's a difficult position to be put in when you're looking for those tough engages.
Teleport in onto Oddielan, engage as well, throws out the Cyclone, trying to CC himself back to safety, and now says, okay, maybe we just go for the fight because we have the flank from Yayo, but the damage is just not there. Blaber holds the line. Yayo has to retreat now, as C9 are just playing these fights too well. Yayo does find a flank onto Zven. Is it the miracle? Saint with the shutdown, and LYON maybe can make some magic happen, but maybe not. Flash away, flash forward, Blaber with the Azael onto both carries. Hena and Saint are down. A brief second of hope for LYON, but C9 were inevitable. Triple kill to Loki.
Yeah, big kill there for Loki. Gonna be able to pick up the triple. That was a great engage, though, from Yayo. Caught Zven out on the body slam flash. Perfect alt follow-up there. Knocks him right into Saint. They do get that kill, but that is the goal difference in action. Yep. You are so far behind. You spend everything to actually kill off Zven, and it does work. We're going to go way back to the initial play here as Oddielan is caught out. And with Loki and Zven hitting over the wall, there's just no real way that LYON can actually fight through these members. The ball placement was great from Loki. He was just kind of playing bodyguard in this section right there.
Yeah.
And then Yayo, he is kind of just lost track of, gets over the wall, body slam, flash, nails the ulti right into Saint. But the problem is, they don't have much damage off the back of this. It's a great re-engage. Blaber gets a stun to the wall, flash forward, catches both of the carries with the impale, and then Thanatos and Loki are there to get the damage done. Even with a great pick on his Zven, it just doesn't even matter. He's loving it, man, and why not? He has been crushing it across these last two games.
Yayo gets one highlight play for his highlight reel. You just stop it before the end of the play. But that was a great start. I mean, it gave hope to LYON. C9, like you had said, though, their pocket wallets are just too big. No deaths on Thanatos or Blaber or Vulcan. That's the front line. The guys that are engaging, starting off the fights, and they are just so far ahead. They're going to get this dragon. Thanatos is going to get 3-manned under the top turret, make it 4, as C9 might be able to actually keep him alive. Shutdown goes over to Lyonz as the re-engage from C9. Zven is there. Vulcan goes forward. Taken out now is actually Zven is in some trouble. I think they've been on more than they can chew. He just does so much damage, man. Zven, with the IE completed, is making it real tough for LYON to find any purchase in this game.
Yeah, Yayo again, though, does catch out Zven and is able to get that kill. It was a good proactive play there from LYON. They tilt the tower on the top side. You know, they get the bounty. They kill off Thanatos. They kill off Zven. Yes, they do lose a lot of members in the process, but I think that's about as good as you could hope for from this difficult position. Loki, though, again, he shows up. He's getting so much damage down. 10-1-7 now at this point. They have the Cloud Soul as well. They are ridiculously strong, but at the very least, LYON not giving up, you know, trying to find some angles to potentially look for a comeback, but I just don't think that C9's going to give it to him.
And I don't know what this stat looks like on the global scale, but that's at least 2 triple kills to Loki right now. With the opportunity for more, we got to keep our eyes on that because this guy's putting on an Orianna clinic right now. 10-1-7. Very well played from C9's mid laner.
Yep. And tickets are on sale for the LTA Championship that is going to be here at the end of the split, where the LTA North teams will battle against the LTA South teams for the LTA Championship and for one of those additional slots that is up for grabs at Worlds. C9, obviously a team that is expected to be there, and we'll see if they can make sure of it.
It's an expectation they put on themselves as well, and so far so good to kick things off in Split 3. They win game number 1. They're getting a Baron uncontested here. LYON just cannot approach. They'll take the bottom turret instead, get any amount of gold they can in their pockets.
Yeah, but you look at the top lane and you realize, all right, well, now you have to defend, and that is going to be a problem here. As C9 with that Baron buff, with the Soul, with the 10k gold lead this early on in the game are just so strong. And Hena is very far away from his IE. It's really only Saint that feels kind of relevant as far as the item completions are concerned, but everyone else is just so far behind.
Looking at this inhibitor as well. The range of this Senna, just nobody can get in range to stop Zven from taking this down. So structure falls. LYON still trying to hold. They have the wave push bot side, so at least they only need to worry about 2 waves currently. C9 are doing a decent job, though, of actually crashing these at the same time. So the mid wave goes in, LYON are there. They're going to have to worry about the stop side. It's only Yayo for right now, but they're getting harassed here by Zven. Lands the root onto Lyonz. That's just 1 auto. And that is that much damage. Flash from Blaber, impale onto Saint. It's just that easy. C9 testing the reaction time of Lyon's mid laner, and Blaber comes up heads. No Ryze for the defense now. C9 look to push in and take this series 2-0. 12,500 gold lead as they march into the base, and just no hope of escape for LYON. C9, eyes on a championship. C9, tired of being second place perennially in the region. They'll take their ace. They will crush LYON and 2-0 the series.